I am actually honored to follow the people that you heard already this evening. That first performance just really blew me away, and I recognize a lot of my students in the story of that fictional little boy. He's real, and he's in all of our schools. And it's not just he, it's boys, I mean it's girls too. I think Dorothy wanted me to talk a little bit tonight about how it can be done better. But there's so much to talk about what's wrong, so I'm going to do a little bit of both. I think, I was frantically taking notes during the other speakers' presentations. And, the bottom line of where all the problems are isn't related to curriculum and testing. In fact, I think a lot of that is in our way. I used to be a really, really good teacher. Now I sort of feel like I just get by all the time. My district, in its frantic efforts to maintain compliance with unfunded mandates from the Department of Ed in this state, which is frantically trying to maintain compliance to the federal mandates, which are also unfunded. So we're spinning. We're spinning. For the last 7 years, we've been spinning. We've been changing curriculum, we've been changing the test, we've been changing curriculum and changing the test. And I've been really, with my colleagues, in earnest, trying to do the right thing for our schools and our principals and our kids and everything. And I feel like we're failing everybody. I'm exhausted trying to put stupid things together that don't make any sense at all. They don't make any sense for our kids, they don't make any sense for me. I look at what I used to be able to teach and I can't teach it anymore. I used to teach it by January. And now I can't even get there by June because everything's in my way. I'm working on a major production right now with the entire 7th grade at Nathan Bishop Middle School. And I have to stop it. I had to stop today. I've planned it for a year. I planned it since September. I've gotten all the dates, people from the GAM Theater. We're working, it's major stuff. We're doing Shakespeare, which we're not allowed to do, by the way. We're not allowed to teach Shakespeare. But we're doing it anyway. In order to do the right thing for our kids, we have to be subversive. Well, I got a message yesterday that we have to do some preparatory testing for the new test, which is going to follow the NECAP.
That's right.
NECAP's going away, but PARCC is joining us. It's connected to the Common Core, and we're so excited about all of this. And it'll be the next thing. Now, granted, it's rigorous, it's lovely, it's wonderful, it's one nice small piece of the puzzle, but I have to take 3 days out of my teaching, which actually is my rehearsal week. But who needs to rehearse with 7th graders? And have them practice a test so that the grown-ups can get some baseline data. Now mind you, this isn't going to help my kids in any way, shape, or form. When I notified the class today that they were going to have to do this, they looked at me in horror. They're going to torture us again for 3 days? I'm like, oh, it'll be a good test. It'll be, I want them to get in there and do their best because it will make somebody look good. And, the real problem for student achievement has nothing to do with these tests. And it has nothing to do with the curriculum that we're even teaching. It has everything to do with the kids themselves. And they have been ignored in all of this. The lives of our children, the needs of our children, the differences in our children are completely ignored. What I used to do when I was a really effective teacher was I taught responsively. I got to know my students for about a month. Every year. I spent the first month of school playing with my students. Sneaking curriculum in there, sneaking some skills in there. We played a lot of games. We got to know each other as human beings. We set up systems for the year. We learned how to talk and listen to each other, which, let me tell you, for middle schoolers, that sounds a lot easier than it is. And then we would go. And where would we go? Well, it depended on who was in front of me. There was no limit. There was no curriculum that I had to follow. There were skills, certainly. And they learned those, and they wrote, and they read, and they read, and they read, and they wrote. I teach English. And it was amazing. And every year there was an exciting Shakespeare unit, because I can't live without William Shakespeare. And those were the years where I just really felt so connected to everything that I was doing. And then No Child Left Behind was passed. And really, it's just eroded. And if I could point to one thing, I think it's that. And then everyone got on board, and people stopped talking about the needs of the kids. Poverty, difficulties at home, drug and alcohol addiction, childhood trauma, anything that affects kids because they're humans. They stopped talking about all of that, and they talked about test scores. Test scores. And your children and my students became data points. They're data points. That's all they are right now. Because nobody gets rich solving those problems. But people do get rich creating new tests, creating new curricula, selling all kinds of strategies that you can buy. You can actually, I get advertisements all the time of how to align my stuff to the Common Core. Textbooks that you can buy, test prep that your district can buy into. It is unbelievable how many professional development hours I have spent learning how to teach to the test. It's disgraceful. I know how to teach. I know how to teach in every cell and every fiber of my being, and I want to do it again. I want to do it again, but we need voices out there. We need to talk to our politicians. The lobbyists blow us out of the water. I lose hope for the big picture all the time.
That's right.
Because I feel completely powerless. On the tiny little thing that I have control of, which is my classroom, I can say, I'm taking back control. But that's a tiny drop in a really big ocean. And it just feels really hopeless to me. It feels incredibly hopeless. So I don't know what else to say other than if we go back to paying attention to who is in our classrooms and talking to them and listening to them and getting them. We had problems, and I taught at Nathaniel Green for many years. And one of the things we learned at the very beginning of the year would be to do a Socratic seminar. How do you have a Socratic seminar and talk about a poem that's really complicated, or talk about a controversial issue, or anything like that? Make meaning of text. Well, my kids learned this so well that they would run the Socratic seminars. This is how we ran our classes. It was like a college colloquium. They were 7th graders. And they had a real issue in school for a couple of years with cliques. There was some nastiness between the cliques that sort of developed. And they came to me, a bunch of the kids came to me and they said, you know what, we have to solve this problem. You know what we need to do? We need a Socratic seminar. And I thought, okay. And they brought in discussion materials, things for us to read, they planned it, we got it, and we did. And for a week, we just dropped everything because our curriculum became this problem to solve in our school. They owned the problem, they wanted to own the solution, and they did it. And they did it. Did they erase all of the problems? No, but they opened a wide dialogue that took place around the school, and they took ownership of, how do you fix this? This is a human problem, we're involved, it hurts. Let's show each other how we feel. That, to me, is what you do in middle school education. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. It's taking these fabulous kids in our classroom and listening to them. And finding out, like that little boy, why he can't behave in class. Well, maybe because you're forcing him to sit still. Maybe he can't read because he's too stressed out. And he's worried about his mom, and he has no place to sleep. Or grandma just died, or mom has cancer. If you don't know what's going on inside of them, what do? You discipline, you punish, you punish, you punish. You punish. You kick them out of the room. And then you start that cycle that Osiris and David were talking about. Well, where does it end? Where does it end? I know where it should start. And it should start with all of us. You can't just have the teachers do it and then blame everybody in the schools and say the teachers are not doing their jobs. I think we need to start at all levels. It's parenting, it's everything in society. Kids need to eat. Very basic issue. Kids need to eat. I can't solve that problem. Not in my classroom anyway. That's something bigger than me. So I don't know. I don't know where I'm going. Thank you.